Hello! Today I'm going to do a video tutorial for a left-handed grit stitch. Now the grit stitch is just a name given to a single crochet stitch that's made in a slightly different configuration, so it's not just one stitch in each stitch, and it just gives it a little bit of a more interesting texture. It is just made up of single crochet stitches, and that's a single crochet stitch if you're crocheting with US terminology, or a double crochet stitch if you're using UK terminology. So I'm going to start my row with a chain, because if you're doing the blanket of many stitches pattern, all of the rows are starting with just chain one. And what I have here is an odd numbered row, so I've got 11 stitches in my row, and this stitch works best if you have an odd numbered row. So I'm going to work 2 single crochet stitches into my very first stitch. Now to make the single crochet stitch, we don't yarn over, you just insert your hook straight into the stitch, then yarn over and come back through. That gives you 2 loops on your hook. You yarn over and go through both of them. And we're going to do that twice into that first stitch. So there's our 2 stitches. Now we skip 1 stitch and make 2 single crochet stitches into the next one. So insert your hook, yarn over back through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over through 2, and again back into that same stitch. Now we're going to skip 1 stitch and make 2 stitches into the following stitch. And this is what we're going to do all the way down the row until we get to the end. So skip 1 stitch, make 2 into this one, skip 1 stitch, make 2 into this one, at this point, when you've made 2 in there, we've got 2 stitches left in the row, one here and one on the end just here. So we're going to skip the penultimate stitch, and instead of making 2 stitches into the last stitch, we're actually just going to make 1. So 1 single crochet stitch on its own into the last stitch in the row, like that. And that's finished the row. Now we're going to turn around and go back the other way. And when you go back, you repeat exactly the same sequence. So the row starts with a chain 1, and we're going to make 2 single crochet stitches into the first stitch, skip a stitch, make 2, skip a stitch, make 2, all the way down. So there's 1, there's number 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just pause the video while I work my way down the row, and I'll come back to you when I've got to the end. So this is the second row complete. I just have 1 last stitch to go here, so we're going to skip the penultimate stitch again and make 1 single crochet stitch by itself into this very last stitch just here. Yarn over and pull through. And that's it. That's the grit stitch complete. It's a very simple stitch. It just has a little bit of a more interesting texture than a straightforward single crochet stitch. Thank you for watching.